Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up people? Hola, JT here. Welcome to another episode. I've been coming to Poland for 11 years. We used to just come and visit family, visit friends, do a little bit of tourism for me to get to know my wife's country and her culture. And I have discovered so many things. I have learned so many little nuances and intricacies about this culture, about these people. But my road to where I am right now has not always been 100% beautiful and clean and without holes, batches. I have made some mistakes. And on this episode, I'm going to tell you about 5 mistakes that I've made in Poland. Boom! The first mistake that I made is not respecting time. The way that time is understood and processed here in this country it's actually astoundingly different than it is in Latin America. Basically, there are some cultures and countries that are hourly based, and some other countries and cultures are event based. Poland, Germany, Scandinavia, all these countries are hour based. What does this mean? Basically, if you have an event, it's going to be determined by the hour. We agree we're going to meet at 8 and the event is going to be until 12. And everyone knows that they should get there on time and respect what we already previously agreed. In Latin America, and I think in a lot of places in Africa is the same, we are event-based. I'm going to invite you guys to come to my birthday party. It's going to be around 8. To a poll, that is very vague because the only thing they heard was 8. So they're going to be ready, they're going to be at the door at 7:50. Whereas a Latino will tell you, bro, I said around 8. That means 8:30, could even be 9. And that's why it's so difficult for Polish people that go to Latin America to wrap their head around this oh my God, concept of responsibility. They think that we are being irresponsible and disrespectful because we are not precisely respecting time, and we just view it completely different. We actually care about time. We care about other people's time, just not based on the clock. If I invite my friend Julio to come to my birthday party in Dominican Republic and he doesn't show up, I'm gonna be a little offended because he's a close friend, but I'm not gonna mind if he shows up at 9 or 9:30. The second mistake that I made was assuming that everyone was grumpy. The faces of Polish people sometimes are a little bit expressionless. That doesn't mean that they are grumpy. That doesn't mean that they're even angry.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Doesn't really mean much, to be honest. Yes, some people are grumpy.
All right.
Yes, some people have attitude.
Girl, is it a bad day?
Yes, some people are gonna be unpleasant to be around, even to look at. But most people are not grumpy. They're just themselves, and that's just their face. They don't smile because there's no reason to smile. Now, when you come from a culture like a Latino culture, then it kind of feels grumpy because we are constantly smiling. It's like a natural state. But just because I have that and someone else doesn't, it really doesn't mean at all that they are grumpy or even grumpier than me. By the way, that's another thing. Latinos sometimes are grumpy. There are some really grumpy motherfuckers in Latin America. Trust me. Why do I name this as a mistake? Because it affected how I viewed or sometimes how I felt towards some people, or even in general, kind of like affected my mood. I'm walking around and I'm seeing people with their faces and I'm assuming that they're all angry and mad and they just not happy with their lives, and I'm there thinking, man, this country is freaking awesome. Why do they have such long faces? Why are they so sad? Now, having said that, we know the Polish people can be a little melancholic, and we know that they can complain and they love to complain. It's part of expressing themselves, but it's not the same as being grumpy. So if you're a foreigner, especially if you're a Latino in this country, don't assume that they are angry or that they are grumpy. That it's basically just how they carry their facial expression. It doesn't really mean anything. Another mistake that I made, and I see a lot of foreigners make it, is mistaking rudeness for hurriedness. We know the Polish people are fast. Everything is fast. And when they're on that state, they don't like to waste time. And they hyper focus on the task at hand. They're not going to be distracted by things around it. Like, pay attention. If you have a Polish partner, you will notice that when they are doing something important, a task or whatever it is, it seems as if they have tunnel vision. The world can be ending around them and they're just boom. When they are in a hurry, combined with that focusedness, sometimes they act like a tractor just blowing through the field. And yeah, oftentimes it can happen. Then if you are in a queue to buy something and they're behind you, they're so focused on paying or getting whatever it is that they're getting, for example, that they can get a little bit too close to you, or sometimes even seem as if they want to take over your space. That's something very important that you should understand, that one thing is for them to be in a hurry and to be focused, and another thing is for them to be rude. Completely different thing altogether. The fourth mistake that I made is thinking that Polish people are friendly. And I know you're gonna maybe call me on it, because I've mentioned in so many of my episodes that Polish people are so friendly and people are mistaken. They are great, and you know what? They're also not friendly. If you define what friendly is, it's someone that is approachable, someone that when you meet them, they are easy to talk to, they are pleasant, they're gonna make your experience so much more positive just because you met them. That's kind of like what being friendly is. And Polish people are not that. Now, they are not unfriendly. They're neutral. And that's where the problem lies. If you're not friendly, that doesn't immediately put you on the category of unfriendly, because you would have to be rude, you would have to be unpleasant, you would have to be mean for you to actually be categorized as unfriendly. And I don't think that they are unfriendly. I think that they are very, very, very neutral. Neutral is a great word to describe Polish people in almost anything, to be honest. Are they happy? No, they're neutral. They are not unhappy. They're not happy and overjoyous. Are they sad? Well, they're not really sad. They're not really jumping out of excitement. They're neutral. At the beginning, I was maybe creating this idea in my head that Polish people were friendly. They are not mean. They're not really, maybe I thought that they could be a little grumpy because of some of the mistakes that I made, I already talked about before. But I really thought that they were friendly. And most of the time, when you meet a Polish person, they are not going to do any harm to you, but they're not going to go out of their way to help you. For example, like maybe Latinos would. Now, yes, I understand. The thing with Latinos is that we can be friendly, we can be approachable, we can be happy and overjoyous and still not really be your friend.
Stab you behind the back.
Okay, I am joking, at least partially, but those are things that I've heard from Europeans that have lived in Latin countries. They say, man, you guys seem so friendly at the beginning, so approachable, and after a couple months I realized that, man, that person just literally let me down. I needed them the most in a given moment and they let me down. In Europe, they would not do that. When Polish people befriend you, they really befriend you. And that is true. But at the beginning, they are not really friendly. They are not your friend. And they let you know that you're not their friend. They're not your enemy, but they're not your friend. The last mistake that I've made, sometimes I still make it, to be honest with you, is generalizing and expecting people to understand. When you make content like I do, you can try to be as specific as you can, but the reality is that this is not a science channel. I am not going to be so precise in regards to the things that I cover. I'm talking about cultures, I'm talking about people, I'm talking about experiences, and by nature those things are subjective. It will depend how everyone interprets some of the things that I say and that I cover on my videos. Yes, I'm gonna admit it, I am guilty of generalizing, but if you really think about it, most cultures have things, characteristics that repeat. This is part of the cultural identity. Sometimes I get comments from people on Instagram, on YouTube, you're generalizing. Not all Polish people are like this. Not all women are like that. Yes, not everyone. But I expect, or I guess at this point wrongly expect people to think, hey, you know, this guy's making a video about Poland, and Poland is a big country, it's a big place with many different types of individuals. But it is true, we have some things that are undeniably Polish. I think that a lot of Poles are pretty okay accepting this when it comes from another Polish person. But if it's a foreigner, then maybe it has a little bit of a different connotation, because it might feel as if this person is now dissecting them. But that's not what I'm doing, and I want to make that clear. I'm not doing that. I love to observe. I sit here, for example, when I make these videos, and I look around and I look at people and how they behave and how they, sometimes I even look at how they walk and how they carry themselves with their body language. These generalizations are harmless, and most importantly, they are there to provide a fun, light element, and for us to discover and make sure that Poland becomes a more approachable place for foreigners. That's my goal. That's why I love to do these videos. I create my content because I want people to discover Poland and to see and to learn all the things that I have learned. I just hope more people understand what I mean with those generalizations. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. I know that I've made more mistakes than the ones that I just covered, and I will continue to make them. But what I think is important is to review the things that you have done where you're trying to insert yourself into a culture, into a country, and learn from them. If you are a person living in this country and maybe you have caught yourself making some of the mistakes that I just reviewed, don't be too hard on yourself. See you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.